Hey guys, um, it's too loud. Uh, Welcome back. I got a new camera. Can't you see? But last week, um, on my predictions, I did like I have all other 3 weeks of the season. I went 9-7 again, um, which I feel like I did a little bit better this week than the previous 2 weeks because no one saw Green Bay losing to the Browns, and then I don't think I don't think many people saw the Texans losing to the Jaguars, especially not the Falcons to the Panthers. Like some of these things, you could just be like, well, that it's the any given Sunday effect where the Panthers can shut out the Falcons and win. Um, as you saw on my previous stream, the Cardinals lost to the 49ers, which, the 49ers do not have their starter. I felt like it was a pretty easy easy thing to predict, but any given Sunday, right? So I'm gonna debrief over this week 3 slate, and then afterwards I'm gonna go to week 4. Um, in a previous stream, I watched the USC game, so I'm gonna uh, talk about that. It was against Michigan State, which was a lot closer than I thought it'd be. It was too close for comfort. I thought that we were going to. Well, in the middle of the game, I thought we were going to start rolling, but um, things happen in the lake. So I mean, it's not a big thing. I don't think. All right. So first matchup, you guys saw this. I watched it last Thursday. It was Buffalo, Miami. Miami kept it close for a majority of the game, but Buffalo ran away with it at the end. I think that Buffalo's just the better team. I think that Miami had a like chip on their shoulder because they were hearing all the takes on it, and it was just like, hey, we are still an NFL football team. We can beat anyone on any given Sunday, but or this case Thursday, but they just it just wasn't enough. I don't think it wasn't enough, and I think that Buffalo is just the better team. I think that, well, I'm pretty sure this is consensus, but Josh Allen is the better quarterback, stuff like that. So I just think that the Dolphins this year, it's just not their year. I don't think that. I think that McDaniel might be fired. I think that Tua probably isn't going to um, make it onto next year with the Dolphins. I just think that they are like Tua just needs a fresh start. Either that or retire, because I feel like he has had a lot of concussions, and I think that it's his personal choice to like keep playing. Like I'm not gonna be like, oh, he should retire right now, and that's it. I'm like, okay, if he wants to play more, he can play more. It's his choice. But I think that a lot of NFL fans feel this way because it's the Archer position that he always ends up in. Like it's scary. It's a very scary process to be like, oh, this guy on my screen, he is in mental distress. Like, his brain is under duress. He clearly had a concussion. It's very off-putting to see a person be in that fencing position. I said archer, didn't I? It's the fencing position. It's very off-putting. So it's just, hey, is this really what you want to keep doing despite your health? And he decided it is. So if it's not going to be with the Dolphins, it might be with a QB needy team, and the Dolphins should start over, because I don't think it behooves them to keep this core together if they're clearly not working together well. Packers Browns. I didn't watch this game. I was just looking over it. Like, when it was 10-3 late in the game, I was like, dang, the Browns defense is putting up a good fight, but I'm just like, Green Bay is gonna cover. Like, Green Bay is gonna run away with it. I thought, because it was 10-3 in the last quarter. I was like, the Browns can't keep relying on their defense like this, and they did, and they won. And it was just like, wow. Either the Packers are not as good as I thought, or the Browns just had one of those any given Sundays. Like I said about the Miami Dolphins. And it was like weird to see the Packers struggle so much against the Browns when they absolutely torched the Lions, and they beat, who did they beat last week? I forget who they beat last week. Who did they beat last week? The Commanders. They beat the Commanders. The Commanders and the Lions, they beat quite easily. And then with the Browns, they struggled. I think they may have some of that playing down to their competition syndrome that the Steelers always seem to have, Congratulations to the Browns. Joe Flacco played like Joe Flacco, and they still won. So Minnesota versus the Bengals. I didn't quite expect this. I picked the Vikings to win because I just think that Wentz is better than Browning. Like, as a USC fan, and how I watched Browning in college, I was just like, this guy might be a good college quarterback, but I don't really think he's a NFL like starter caliber quarterback. And like, when he started those games for Burrow, I think 2 years ago, I was like, oh, he's better than I thought, but still not a NFL starter caliber quarterback, I don't think. And then the Minnesota Vikings defense just clamped down and won the game. Like, I don't think Carson Wentz was really needed to do much. He just needed to not mess up as bad as the Bengals were in that game. So it was kind of like, 48-10. Steelers Patriots. The Steelers are now 2-1. And the Patriots are now 1-2. And it was a very sloppy game for the Patriots running the ball. I don't know. I think that the Steelers played good enough, but I just can't shake the feeling that they're just a bad team that's getting kind of lucky with these wins. I still don't think that they're going to make the playoffs. And if they do, they were getting bounced first round like always. So I think that it's more like Tomlin is a really good coach. And I think that it's just like, oh, he's a good coach. He's going to get them to 9-8, winning season. If they make the playoffs or not, that's up to the rest of the league. But I just don't think that he's like the Steelers are a good team this year. Philly, Rams. I was worried about this pick. Like, I was really worried about this pick. In the middle of the game when the Rams were up 26 to, what was it, like 3? And then the Eagles came roaring back and went up 27 to 26. And when I was, I didn't watch the end of the game, but I was just like discreetly following it. And I was like, the Rams are going to kick this and win. And then it got blocked. And then he ran it back for a touchdown. And I was like, wow, that is crazy. You know, it's crazy that kind of thing happened. And then it happened again with the Buccaneers and Jets. And I was just like, I watched the end of that game. Like, I came home from church and I was like, I turned on the game. I was like, I turned it on just when the Jets blocked it and returned it for a touchdown. And it was 27-26. Go figure. And I was like, this can't happen again. Like, what is this? And then the Buccaneers drove down the field and scored the field goal. So I don't know what I was thinking about the Raiders and Commanders. If I make a pick like this again, probably smack me in the face. But like, I just, when Daniels was turned out to be hurt and wouldn't play this week, I was just like, who's their backup? Marcus Mariota? Geno should be able to beat Marcus Mariota. And that's why I picked the Raiders, because I was like, the Commanders don't have that good of defense, for one. And I don't think that their offense will play as well under Mariota as it was under Jane Daniels. And I don't think they did, but dang, the Raiders defense it's just bad. It's putrid. It's bad. Yeah. Houston, Jacksonville. The Texans got to win one of these games, you know. Unless they are just the Jaguars of last year, where they lose all these games that they should win, and they get thumped out of the playoffs so easily. I just think that their offensive line is just bad. And then everyone's being like, so they're blaming CJ Stroud for his offensive line's performance. And I think it's more of like, people expect quarterbacks to win despite circumstances where they cannot. Like, even Joe Burrow, one of the best quarterbacks in the league right now, cannot win with a subpar offensive line, with a horrible defense. Like, Joe Burrow made the Super Bowl once and hasn't sniffed it. Like, I don't know. I just think that CJ Stroud is being unfairly criticized for his offensive line's Like once they traded Tunsil, I think the whole world was like, oh, their offensive line is going to be even worse than last year, which they were really bad last year. Don't mistake me for saying they were decent last year. They were bad last year, and that's why they looked bad last year, but they won games, but they looked bad. You know. So Colts, Titans, the Colts keeping up this run. It seems a lot like the Vikings run last year where everyone was counting the Colts out and then but then they keep winning. So hopefully Shane Steichen can keep his job, and Daniel Jones can show that he's better than people give him credit for. So, yeah. Titans, the Titans are what the Titans are, They're not good. Panthers, Falcons. Now, this is a game that surprised me. Like, I picked the Falcons because I thought the Falcons were decent, and the Panthers were just not. But the Panthers shot them out and won by 30. I don't know what's up with this week, but we got more blowouts than before. Like, I don't think I've seen this many blowouts before in a single week. Like 21 plus games. Like, I don't think I've seen this many in 1 week. And then also there's the added bonus of the special teams just going off this week, blocking like field goals at the last second. So, congrats to Bryce Young. He came back from last week with a chip on his shoulder, and he won. Chargers, Broncos. This was a lot closer than I thought it'd be. I thought Chargers would win by like 7 to 10 points. Like, I think the Chargers are I want to say best, but the Chiefs still exist. And I don't think I can count out the Chiefs unless I see them lose the division. So unless I just see it, I'm going to be like, the Chiefs are one of the best in the AFC West. So the Chargers are also one of the best in that division. I think they have a real shot at winning the division this year. The Broncos are still, like I said last week, probably like a year away. I don't think that Bo Nix is bad. I just don't, like I said before, he just has a lower ceiling than a lot of the other guys. I think that he has a high floor. He's a high floor, low ceiling type of guy. So yeah. Seattle, New Orleans. I picked this. I didn't think that the Seahawks would blow them out. I thought it was going to be like a 13, maybe 17-point game. I just thought that the New Orleans Saints is just bad, and the Seattle Seahawks are like that close to being a good to great team, like at the higher echelon. I'm not as high on the Seahawks as Colin Cowherd is, putting them in his Super Bowl bubble. But I don't think they're far off. I think they're a playoff contending team, and I think they might win a playoff game or two. But I don't think they'll make the Super Bowl. Not quite yet. The Bears beat the Cowboys. Again, I did not think that it would be this close. Not this like blowout. Sorry, I didn't think this would be a blowout, but like I thought that the Bears would win. I didn't think that the Bears defense would hold the Cowboys to 14 points. That's the thing. I thought it would be like a 31-28 point game, maybe a 27-24, but it's one of those games where you're just like, oh, wow. The Bears just put the beat down on the Cowboys. How about that? After they got smushed by the Lions. Maybe in a couple of years they can win the division. Arizona 49ers, you saw my reaction to this game. It was just a masterclass at offensive mismanagement. Like, the Cardinals should have won this game outright. Like, it shouldn't have even been 15-13 at the end of the game. It should have been like 21-13, 24-13. Like I said in the stream, like, Arizona had 21 minutes of possession in the first half, and they were losing. Like, they were losing, and they had the vast majority of the clock. Like, they had double the amount of clock possession as the 49ers, and they still couldn't get it in the end zone or get a field goal or get it into field goal range. Like, I don't know, man. That was just a masterclass at mismanaging a game. And then the head coach was like, oh, that's the best game that Drew Pretzing has ever called. And I'm like, really? If that's the case, then he still should be fired. He still should be kicked. Like, I don't know, man. Kansas City, New York. I called this. I just think that the New York Giants aren't ready. And they're starting Jackson Dart, who I think is not ready either. But what do I know? I'm just a guy on the internet just talking about football. So if he's ready, he's ready. But if he's ready now, I think I saw this online, he would have been ready week 1. You know. Anyway. Ravens, Detroit. I thought it was going to be kind of a repeat of the last time these two played, where excuse me, where the Ravens would just more physical than the Lions were then, but it's the other way around. The Lions were just more physical than the Ravens, and they beat up the Ravens. And I think that it was not as close as a game as the score suggests. So, yeah, debrief of last week. Now predictions for week 4. You're going to see my reaction of the Seahawks-Cardinals. I'm picking the Seahawks because my Cardinals are just... I don't think that our offense is good enough, and I don't think our offensive play calling is good enough to beat the defense. And we may make it a close game, but I think that the Seahawks will pull it out. Vikings, Steelers. I'm going to choose the Vikings. I just don't trust the Steelers. I don't know what it is. And I think that Rodgers will have a similar game as he did against the Vikings last year, where we would do decent, but make a mistake at the end of the game and lose it. So I'm going to choose the Vikings. Washington, Atlanta. I'm going to choose Washington. That game last week for Atlanta, bro. It's just sapped all my confidence in them as a team. Like I don't think that they're a bad team per se, but I just think that they're kind of mid this year. Buffalo Saints. I'm going to choose Buffalo. It's very easy to choose Buffalo this week. I just think that the Saints are not good, Detroit, Cleveland. I'm going to pick Detroit. Another easy game to pick. I think that it was a fluke that the Browns beat the Packers last week, and I think that the Lions will roll. New England, Carolina. Again, I think last week was kind of a fluke on the defensive side of the ball. I think that it will be a lot closer than the other games, but it may be a 1 point, 2 point game. I'm going to choose the Patriots. Chargers, Giants, Chargers. The Chargers are just the better team. Philly, Tampa. I'm going to choose Tampa this one, kind of against the grain. The Tampa Bay has had the Philadelphia Eagles number the past couple of years. So I'm going to bet that it continues. Tennessee, Houston. I'm going to pick Houston. The Texans got to win one of these games, right? They have to. And I think it's going to be this one. They're going to get on the win column. Because I just don't see the Titans doing very well against that defense and giving Houston a lot more chances on offense. So, LA, Indianapolis. I'm going to choose LA. Whatever you might think, I think that this will be a closer game than other games as well. I just the Colts might be legit this year, but not against the Rams. Like last year with the Vikings, I think that the Colts are like the Vikings last year. I think that they'll lose to the Rams. Jacksonville, San Francisco. I'm going to pick Jacksonville this week. Especially with all the injuries on the 49ers. I just think that they're very injured this week, and I don't think, unless Brock Purdy comes back healthier than ever and better than ever, I just don't think that the 49ers are equipped this week to win. Kansas City, Baltimore. I'm going to choose Kansas City. I think that Baltimore's defense has really taken a turn for the worse after McDonald left, Mike McDonald. Zach Orr, I think, is a decent defensive coach. I just think that he's not as good as Mike McDonald. And I think that he needs to get into a season a lot to just start. Like, I think he's a slow starter on defense. This is the same thing that happened last year, where the first half of the year, the Ravens were bad at defense, and then they got good at defense, Raiders, Bears. I think I might change this. Yeah, I'm going to pick the Bears. I picked the Raiders before because I was like, the Bears are not doing good. But after their win against Dallas, I think that it's going to be a good game, and I think that the Bears will win. Green Bay, Dallas. I just don't think Dallas is equipped, especially with the injuries to CeeDee Lamb. I just think that the Packers will run away with this. New York Jets, Miami Dolphins. I'm gonna pick the Jets. I think Miami's in disarray. I just do. And then Cincinnati, Denver. I'm gonna pick Denver mostly because their defense. I think that and the Cincinnati's defense and offense. I don't see them winning this game, especially with Surtain on Chase, and I think that Denver's defense is just gonna crush Cincinnati. So that's my predictions. Last week I looked at I watched the USC Michigan State game. This week we're playing Illinois. Especially with Illinois having these injuries and such, I think that I just think that it's not a good day to be an Illinois fan, because they were ninth and then they got smoked by oh god, I can't remember, but they got smoked, and then now they're playing the USC Trojans, who are better than last year, and they have all these injuries. So I'm gonna watch it. I'm not gonna say who I think will win because I don't want to jinx it. But yeah, thank you all for watching. This has been me reviewing and debriefing last week, and then predicting this coming week, week 4. And you'll see me again, probably tonight. Most definitely tonight. Thank you. Peace.